welcome to another episode of Earning the Hate. Hey, gun people. Well, look, I'm all for cops being held accountable. I just hate when they're only holding white cops accountable when there's black victims. And that's my only problem with this. This guy chasing a guy through the streets, double the speed limit, doing all this shit. He turns off his camera, and now he's being indicted for murder and conspiracy. Also, his lieutenant is being indicted. We don't see a picture of him. I'm going to take a swinging wild-ass guess here. The lieutenant's white, okay? If I'm wrong, please, somebody post a picture. They're charging the lieutenant and him because they chased a black guy on a moped that ran. So the guy was wrong. The guy was committing a crime, and the cops didn't even hurt him. He ran through a light, and another car plowed into him, and he died. But because he's black and the officer was white, now all of a sudden it's a problem. It's a black and white issue. It's not a government. Let me get this straight, people, so you guys understand this. There are agencies out there that have a no pursuit policy. People don't die when cops don't chase them. I'm not saying every agency should have that. I'm just saying there are agencies, Illinois State Police for one, they don't pursue, and I'm telling you, they don't have people dying, and cops aren't killing people chasing them. You got the CHP that will chase anybody for anything all over, and they pay out millions of dollars, probably a month, in lawsuits, but they don't change their policy. DC has not changed their policy to go to a no pursuit. Instead, we're going to get the white officer because it's a black guy, and we're not going to focus on the real problem that our government is out of control and they're picking and choosing based on color, not holding cops accountable fairly. That's my issue here. Everyone that watches me knows I am not a fan of these cops chasing people to the ends of the earth on BS. But guess what? It's still happening.
Father's life. Right now at 6 o'clock, Seven's on your side pushing for answers.
Now that's after DC police did release this video, which could be difficult for some people to watch because it shows winding down streets and through an alleyway. New at 6 o'clock, we have team coverage. Our I-Team investigator, Scott Taylor, is digging into DC's chase policy, while DC Bureau Chief
digging into the chase policy.
Sam Ford analyzed.
Meaning they have a chase policy. Meaning they're still allowing cops to do this, but if a white cop chases a black guy and a black guy gets hurt, then we're going to charge him. But we're going to allow the cops to chase. That makes zero sense. And for the stupid, pesky citizens that don't get it, this ought to be a freaking wake-up call. It's about a government accountability, not about color.
Analyzes that video and what we know about the officers involved.
Mayor Bowser said she was releasing this body-worn camera video in part to quell rumors about the death of 20-year-old Karan
So the little moped guy that's running is here.
Hilton.
The footage shows that the MPD car does not collide with Karan.
She has a matching mask for her suit. Wow. I wonder if taxpayers pay for that matching. Anyway, I digress.
Hilton wasn't wearing a helmet.
Oh, look, he's throwing a little gang sign. That's the only picture they can show with his baby, and he's throwing a, yo, what's up? Or, I'm sorry, maybe that's a peace sign. Maybe it's not a gang sign. I'm sorry. I'm just, guys running from the cops on a moped, endangering the public, and he's not the problem. He crashes into a car because he runs a stop sign because he's being chased. Probably because he has drugs and guns, which they're not releasing, whether he had drugs or gun on him. But anyway.
Helmet. Neighborhood surveillance video shows police with lights and siren pursuing Hilton on the electric moped.
Who thinks this guy was running to get to his kid's birthday party? Raise your hand. That's because you're an idiot.
He makes a U-turn, heads back on the sidewalk. And
driving on a sidewalk, endangering people, violating laws, not his fault. It's the white officer's fault. Look, I'm not protecting government. Don't come here and tell me I'm trying to protect the guy because he's white and because this ain't about color. This is about government accountability. DC allows their cops to chase. They could enact a policy right now and say, you guys don't chase people anymore. We're tired of this shit. But they don't. And guess what? Now they get to pick and choose. That's the problem with government power. They get to make laws and then they don't enforce them equally. They only get to enforce them on the people they don't like. It's a problem.
In the car with 4 officers inside, turns around, still chasing. Seconds later, police body cam video shows Hilton in an alley, then a collision with a passenger.
And here's the collision. Cops didn't have nothing to do with it. They didn't run him over or whatever. Now, had the cops not been chasing him, the argument is he wouldn't have been driving and running like that. That's true. But it's a difficult issue, and it needs to be case by case. But chasing a guy on a moped because he doesn't have a helmet and endangering people is kind of stupid. Now, most cops who work the streets knows that if a guy is running from the cops and is going to drive like this and risk his life, it's not because he doesn't want a ticket for a helmet. It's because he's carrying guns or dope or he has a warrant, etc. But, again, does that justify endangering all the innocent people because of one idiot? Oh, I'm sorry, he's not an idiot, he's black. Because the cop did it. It's his fault. The white cop. That's it.
Passing car on Kennedy Street. An officer clearly knows Hilton.
Correct.
Police say at this point all 4 officers are on leave. The U.S. attorney is handling the case. MPD has not talked with them yet about why the pursuit, though the chief says there is no word about a crime in progress at the time.
The chief's a pretty smart dude. No word of a crime. The cops had their lights on and he was running. Is that not a crime? If it's not a crime, then please get the word out to everybody. It's just crazy that the media is going to promote what this chief, which I'm guessing, I don't even know, I'm guessing.
The officer driving the vehicle was Terrence Sutton.
We police in an unbiased way. We police in a lawful way. And we see, if we see a member of the police department who doesn't do that, they can no longer be a member of the...
Really? If you are the chief, and if you are, why don't you have a no pursuit policy? Why did you promote a lieutenant that tries to hide evidence? Are you telling me that these incidents, when they get brought up like this is the first clue to the PD that they ever had a problem? Because until then, this dumbass thought he had all great guys that he could trust and that they were chasing people every day. I bet you if you look at the number of pursuits that this department has, it's in the hundreds. And yet now it's an issue because a black man dies and it was a white officer chasing him. Therefore, it's a racial issue. It's a government accountability issue, people.
This department.
Okay, here's the mom. He was about to go to doctor school and it wasn't his fault and he was a good father.
Hit spots from 4D headquarters to locations around the...
Oh, and there was riots and they busted up buildings and tore up places because a black man was committing a crime and he ran over a stoplight and got hit by a car. What's going to be next? It's freaking crazy.
City. And we're live in front of 4th District headquarters, which has been the scene of unrest over the last 2 evenings.
Scene of unrest. That means black people, Black Lives Matter, is tearing up shit that they don't have to pay for and stealing and looting. That's what that means.
Approximately 20 officers injured by flying objects.
20 officers injured by throwing objects. If you throw an object at an officer and hit them, that is a felony. But 20 officers were injured. I didn't hear anything about the arrest.
And right now they are barricading the front of the station.
Oh, maybe that's the way things get done in America. Unless you tear up and burn down a city, nobody listens to you. Maybe that's a clue. In the article, it said the 4 officers in the pursuit car were part of a crime suppression. Anytime you get a CSU unit, a crime suppression unit, a task force, a gang unit, those guys are targeting people that they know are criminals and repeat offenders that the courts are letting out. And you know, like the poor black guy that shot the kids in school and shot a teacher, and he was out in less than 24 hours, even though he brought a gun on school grounds and shot it and fired because they didn't want to appear racist, so they let him out of jail. So the crime suppression unit knows who the criminals are in the area, and that's probably why they were chasing him. See, we're not hearing any background on the poor individual with a picture of him laying in bed with his child about his criminal history, how many times he was arrested, how many times he was charged, how many times he's been to prison. We're not hearing any of that. You can tell a lot more in our censorship age of promoting sheep and dumb people on what's not said versus what is said. So it looks like here's the general order for the police pursuit policy. General Order 303.3, operation of emergency vehicles, fresh pursuit, vehicle pursuit. General Order 308.3, use of roadblocks. So let's see what the old one little page here that we were allowed access to. When a member of the police department is engaged in a vehicle pursuit, the overriding responsibility is protection of human life. Well, then you probably shouldn't chase anybody if that's really the overriding protection. But I'm sure we'll have a but or maybe here. Let's see. The order is designed to establish guidelines, not policy, guidelines, which means we can enforce it. It's up for interpretation, maybe, if and buts and coconuts, for members to follow that best protect the lives and property of all persons while members are engaged in pursuit situations. Wow, that's a lot of words for not saying much of shit. The policy of the Metropolitan Police Department is that a member who initiates a pursuit shall exercise caution. Wow, shall, he must. Operate the vehicle in a safe manner while engaged in a pursuit. What's a safe manner? Does that mean if the guy goes 20 miles over the speed limit, I can or I can't? Does that mean if he goes 50 miles, I can? Can I follow him safely at 100 miles over the speed limit? Well, Rick, that's up to interpretation. Okay, that's called a policy that administration gets to pick and choose when and who we want to screw. Kind of like this guy. Engaged in a vehicle. As the vehicle pursuit progresses, members and officials shall continually evaluate and assess the actual conditions of the pursuit and decide whether to continue or discontinue. This is a bunch of up to interpretation, decides. Everybody can make a choice, and then anytime we think you didn't make the choice that we want, we'll come after you. When using this directive, the following items shall have meaning designated. Emergency vehicle, equipped with operable emergency warning devices. Marked vehicles will have identifiable department logos and equipment. Unmarked vehicles that do not have identifiable markings but are equipped with a siren and a portable emergency beacon light, which means unmarked vehicles can pursue. That's the only page we were given. So here's a video where 7 on your side got a copy of the policy. Look, I mean, this is just absolutely outrageous. Government has a policy that they won't tell the public or media what it says. So they redact the policy, which all officers are supposed to adhere to, but the public can't see or evaluate whether or not they're adhering to it because they're not allowed to see it. This is freaking just crazy.
Copy this policy. Right off the top, it states, the overriding responsibilities are the protection of human life and property.
Yeah, that's always a standard phrase. We have to put that in a policy so when somebody does get hurt, we can go, oh, it wasn't a priority because you hurt somebody. I mean, and you know what? All cops have a choice not to pursue. So the cops that are chasing get what they get.
The section titled Rules is totally redacted.
Look at that shit. So the pesky citizens that everybody wants to tell me, Rick, government works for us. Okay, whatever. We're not even allowed to see what the rules are that the cops. I can't believe a cop hasn't made a copy of this and put it out. But the PD obviously doesn't want the media to know what their policy says. We call that a clue, people.
Under regulations, it states a police cruiser shall maintain a safe distance between their vehicle and the fleeing vehicle.
So when we use words like safe distance, that means any distance works. But if you hit them, then we get to say it wasn't safe. That's what that means.
Pursuit starts, the primary unit must immediately notify dispatch, activate all emergency equipment, turn on the headlights, and roll down windows. This afternoon, Police Chief Peter Newsham had this to say about...
Now, rolling down the windows with the siren going doesn't really matter, but rolling down the windows does allow you to hear traffic, or it gives you a better surrounding of what's going on and you can hear things. So there is clues to rolling down the window. The problem is cops lose their hearing because the siren's blaring in the air. But anyway, I digress. We won't address that. Let's just get the white cop that chased a black guy and the black guy died.
About any police pursuit.
As a member of this department, and you don't have something that's very serious in nature, you need to discontinue the attempt to stop that vehicle. And if you go past that point, it becomes an unauthorized pursuit.
There is body cam in this tragic incident. And according to policy, body cams must be activated at the beginning of any self-initiated police action, including vehicle and foot pursuits.
An intentional failure to do so would be a very, very serious violation.
Whoa, very, very serious. Not just serious, very, very serious. Woo.
At MPD that could lead to termination.
Like any police chase in the district, the policy clearly states all police chases will be fully investigated to see if they follow all the guidelines.
Oh, of course they will. Fully investigated. We investigate ourselves and found out we didn't do anything wrong. I mean, look, I read somewhere that evidently they didn't take any statements from any witnesses. They didn't do any investigation at all, and that's why they're being charged with conspiracy to obstruct, because they failed to do their job. I mean, this happens every day in police agencies. But again, cops don't get charged. And the only reason this cop is getting charged is because of this. All right? You notice this guy didn't have any hair. I forgot to point. Oh, this guy don't have any hair either. He shaved. Wow. Okay. That guy back there doesn't have hair. Anyway, look, I'm all for government accountability. I'm not for selective accountability because of color. That's BS. All right? Well, in that there, give this a little earning to hate.